right, look how fast that worked. Holy
Big
shit.
difference from last week.
Big difference from last week. So we had some wild comments on YouTube from the um from the big Steve Mark Goldbridge. I gotta say this. I think it's hilarious. Some of the burns that British people try to use on us or English people try to use on us, like somebody said you got rinsed, and like all I could think to myself was like, yeah, I did take a shower this morning.
Thank you. I am
Thank,
fresh and
th-
so clean,
thanks,
like
thanks,
Outcast
thanks
said.
for making sure you care about my cleanliness. Fucking idiots. Welcome to the Snobby Boys. All right, everybody, welcome to the Snobby Boy Podcast. I'm your host, Colby. That is my homeboy, Joseph, over there. We've got a stacked episode for you guys this afternoon. But before you do that, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, hit the notifications so you know when we're coming on. So, Joe, what are we on about today?
We're on a new day and a new
Oh,
time, which worked out
okay.
nicely for the schedule.
Right.
Joining us on a lovely Saturday afternoon or evening, depending on where you're watching from. But today's show, we are going to review the match that just happened with Brentford. A nice 2-1 win. We'll take the result, even if the performance wasn't all the way to our standard. But we'll talk about why that might have been during our review. We will knock out a little bit of city news, a little bit of happenings from the week, from the last time we talked with you all. And then at the end, we're going to wrap it up again with a little bit of bro talk. We might elaborate a little bit more on the cold open about the Goldbridge
Oh,
Big
yeah.
Steve video and comments and that jazz. So we'll spend a little bit of time dissecting that during our bro talk at the end. So let's jump right into the Brentford match. Not the best start. 22 seconds in, hadn't even touched the ball yet, and Ederson's that could not have been a perfect timing on your part. Well done, sir. 22 seconds in, I think they said on the broadcast it was the quickest goal we've conceded at the Etihad in the Premier League. Ederson picking the ball back of the net after 30 seconds is not how you want to start the match off. They went long to the keeper. He smashed it forward, and 3 or 4 passes later, it's in the back of the net. Not a great start for our back line. Johnny whiffed on the clearance. Kyle lost track of their winger on that side, and I don't think Akanji did a good enough job really blocking the cross from going in to begin with. So it seemed like we were very flat-footed. Colby, first goal. Had you even sat down with your cup of coffee or anything yet, or what?
I was on my second at that point. I was on my second at that point. Yeah, sit down and boom, there it is, goal. And I was just like, well, this is how this starts. Considering what's happened over the last couple of days with us, like it would happen this way. Not only that, but then fucking United this morning won 2-0 over Southampton. Like it was just already a weird start to it. But we'll progress to this match as it did.
Yeah, not great. But the flip side of that, the game had just started. You got 90 minutes still to go. So all kinds of time for us to catch up. So even though we went down 1-0 and you're frustrated, I didn't really feel at all stressed that we weren't going to get back into the game.
At that very moment, it felt trappish. Like I felt like I was in a trap game. And then, I mean, in a few minutes here, we'll get the equalizer. But it's just like starting off on that foot felt so just like I said, like I just said a couple of minutes ago, it just felt like it was on time, considering everything that had happened with the video about Big Steve and like all this other stuff. I was just like, God bless. Here it is. We're gonna chuff this and
It's gonna be one of
mess this
those.
up, and it's just gonna be one of those matches. And I mean,
Exactly.
in so many ways it was, but in so many ways it wasn't. Like, yeah,
Big
dissection
facts.
as we progress.
um, so first 10 minutes, I think we had the ball for maybe 26% of the time.
Dude, we had
That
27% possession
in the
at
first
that point.
10.
Yes,
That at home. At home. That was and it was
no
every
Ivan
bit.
Toney, by the way.
Yeah, and it was every bit Brentford just doing a great job knocking the ball around. Us really not trying very hard to close the ball down or win the ball back in any way, shape, or form. They looked like us just pinging the ball around from back to front, and we were just chasing ghosts for the first 10 minutes. It was probably one of the worst 10-minute stretches I think I've seen a city side play, especially at home, in a very long time. It was not good. And it was a collective effort. It wasn't one person you could point to really in those first 10 minutes that you could say that guy's working his ass off.
No, there wasn't anybody who was shining in the first 10, 20 minutes really. I mean, within the 20 we do get the goal, but it was
Yeah.
just not it wasn't what we saw in the first few weeks of the season, and I really have to say this now that we're on it, but like the international break, I really feel fucked us going into this week. Like, yes, we came out with the win, but like taking almost 2 weeks away from the cohesion that you're building with your club, it does something to you. You're not greasing the wheels consistently, if you will. You know what I mean? It's just like I felt like we weren't. Everybody wasn't on the same page right out the gate, and obviously we knew right at the beginning of the match they had talked about Holland having a friend of the family or something of the sort pass away this week, which a lot of people expected him not to start.
Mm-hmm.
Which would have been really interesting. I think if he wouldn't have started, we may have seen Grealish running in that floating 10 role and working more centrally, which would have been great. But at that time, and as the match went on, Rico playing up so high did not benefit Grealish whatsoever.
No, not on the left side. He and Rico haven't really worked together like that. So there's not a really good understanding between those two on what each one wants to do. Rico's got a much better idea of what to do when he's on the right side advancing forward than he does when he's on the left, just because he hasn't done it yet. And that's
Right.
he played left back for England, but not in the same type of role or being asked to do the same type of responsibilities as he does in the City side. So it was just like an imbalance, especially with Stones coming in and Walker coming in. That back line was completely reshuffled from what we've been seeing the first 3 weeks of match weeks anyway. And then when you throw in, like you mentioned, the international break, the announcers on the broadcast said, it impacts everybody, which is true because pretty much every club has a few guys going away on international break. However, with City,
it's the whole squad.
It's damn near the entire first team is going away. So it's not this. It's while it impacts everybody, it doesn't. The weight is not the same on the impact because of how many guys we have going away. At least Brentford probably had a good chunk of their first team there able to practice and get ready the past 2 weeks for City, and you could tell because they looked more prepared, more well drilled, and had a very clear game plan on how they wanted to come out from the get-go from Thomas Frank, who set the team up great. Like, again, kudos to Brentford. They tend to always give us a tough match, and they played hard, and they played well. So you got to give them credit where credit is due. Like you said, in the first 20 minutes, didn't look great. And then in the 19th, Holland, doing what he does, equalizes off of a very nice passing sequence with a really difficult angle with his non-dominant foot, with his right. So he's not just using his left again. He's doing goals and creating goals from all different areas and angles. So much needed goal. You could see the energy pick up a bit from the whole 11 guys out there at that point. So kudos to Holland for there was a little bit of element of luck with the deflection from Kevin. Got a foot on it to get it to him, but there was a slight deflection. But lucky things tend to happen when you're working hard, and we could see Kevin really trying hard to win the ball in that like 50-50 area, which led to good things. So you could see the benefit of the lads working hard and see the fruit from that.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
So we go probably about what? Almost a whole, well, it was about 10 minutes, 12 minutes before we moved on to the next goal. Right?
Yeah. Erling Haaland again, but this one, very different. One pass, assist from the one and only Ederson. Mr. Ederson with the long ball. The way Haaland, one, stayed on for the original kick because he bent his run to make sure he was on, and then was able to read the track of the flight of the ball, position his body, and almost like a power forward in basketball to box out Pinnock.
Yep.
And let the ball go over his head. Was like, and they're all like, well, he shouldn't be off. No, he was on when the ball was kicked, and he was just smarter than you and put himself in a better position. And then it was him one-on-one with the keeper, composed, no heavy touches, and just chips him into the far corner nice and easy as he came out. Beautiful goal.
I am waiting for all the comment sections. So that goal was off. It shouldn't have been that. It should have been a draw.
Or a foul on him for pushing Pinnock. Like,
listen,
no.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
dude. Holland's runs have gotten so much better from last season to this season. And just what you said there, his box out ability, like that's something that I feel like needs to be coached a little heavier in this game, especially with strikers whom are the size of. You should be using your body to the best of your ability to be able to take possession of the ball at any given moment, especially if you're somebody like him. And there's something I'll add on to this later on in the match, something that I saw about Haaland that I feel really needs some improvement. We'll get there in a little bit.
That we will. Shortly thereafter, we continued to possess a bit. We're keeping it in their their defensive third for a good chunk, and then Savinho, I think it was Savinho, unleashed a rocket, and number 22, I think maybe Collins for Brentford, just took an absolute nut shot straight to the
took
nads,
the air right out.
Oh my god! And then the fucking broadcast had the nerve to get the close-up view of coming off of Savinho's foot and then just watching it in slow motion go in. I'm like, we already saw. We know what happened.
We knew where it went.
And I gotta say, home crowd, no sympathy whatsoever for dude who just got crunched.
Fucking ruthless.
And a good chunk of them are dudes who've probably been hit in that exact spot before.
Oh yeah.
No mercy. No mercy from the home crowd for him because they were booing him, screaming at the referee let them play on. They didn't give a shit that he just got a football to the nuts from close range. So I feel bad for the guy, but it also made me laugh that the home crowd was not caring one bit, even though they've all been in his shoes before.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Oh my god.
As soon as it happened, I was like, ooh.
Sorry we're having a laugh at his expense, but all in the same, those shots happen at least 4 or 5 times a year, and it was a good one.
and he took his lumps. He laid around. But once he got up, he was smiling and kind of laughing with everybody. So he was all right, which was good.
They had to have been right here,
dude. No joke.
You know what I mean?
The angle. Oh my god! I felt it from 3,000 miles away, 5,000, whatever it is. I felt it from here.
You get that weird feeling in your lower part of your stomach.
Oh yeah. Tightened up. So, going through the match a little bit further, we both noticed something short, and Eddie clearly noticed it too because he continued to hit long balls deep. And for whatever reason, Brentford was continuing to let Ethan Pinnock play Haaland 1v1 while the rest of the defensive back 4 or 5 were
or 6,
a little higher up, or however many it was. Were pushed up higher, so there was that's a choice to just let Ethan Pinnock, who's a fine Premier League defender, but Me personally, I'm not taking that risk after Holland just put one in the back of the net like 7 minutes before that.
Feel bad for anybody who had him on their fantasy.
Hopefully you didn't start him today.
Yeah, hopefully you didn't start him today.
You know who did start Holland today in ours though, right?
Yeah, fuck you. How did you get the first draft pick, by the way? Like, what the hell?
I'm not the commissioner. I didn't set that shit up.
Who is our commissioner? Is it Ryan?
It is.
Ryan, we're gonna have a talk, bud.
We're gonna have a discussion about what happened here.
Long discussion, commish. Oh damn!
And to wrap up the first half, really, more possession, and then Kova 100% earned a yellow. He felt like he got the ball, but again, for everybody who's listening, it doesn't matter if you get the ball. If you go through the player to get said ball and follow through with contact from behind, they're going to give you a card almost every time. And Kova, but it stopped at a potential attack, which was we'll take those tactical fouls where we can. Unfortunately for Wisa, who was the Brentford goal scorer, he had to come off injured. Didn't look like a good one for him, the way Kova landed on the back of his foot when he came through. Not trying to hurt the guy, obviously, but that's part of the game. That kind of shit happens, unfortunately. So hopefully he's not out for too long, because I like Brentford and I like the way that they've played and have been playing, especially without their big name striker that is now no longer here. So that takes us to halftime.
And let me just say that. Let me just stay on that for a second. The adaptation of Brentford without Ivan Toney was actually fairly impressive.
Yeah.
I really felt like their attack would have lost a whole layer to it with having him gone, but it seems, well, they were really working two forwards the whole time, two strikers, but I really felt their attack just wasn't going to be something that we really had to worry about, and we got shown today.
Well, I think what happened there, he was such a focal point and a target striker for them that with him gone, in a more mobile front two of Wisa and Mbuemo, much harder to mark those guys, and they were way more fluid from the last time we saw them, like, with an Ivan Toney up front. So I think Thomas Frank, like you said, the adaptation to kind of almost a new style and a new front two, pretty much, I think has been helpful for them, and they've played well the first month or so of the season. So I like that. Good question. We can hit that right now. Thoughts on Kyle Walker's performance? First half, not great. Heavy first touch. Almost every time it came to him, we were losing possession in advanced spaces because he was taking heavy touches. I don't think he was tracking their winger very well.
Not at all, dude. Lewis,
and
whatever
even
the hell his name was,
yeah,
bro,
he was cooking him.
He was working him all afternoon. I don't mean to cut you off, but
go
with the starting lineup the way that it was, understanding that we're down in Nathan Ake and maybe they wanted to rest Yasko for Champions League on Wednesday. That's all fine and well, but putting Rico on the left and having Kyle work him opposite, it didn't feel right. Like, there was a lot of people who really wanted to see this. I'm sorry, but it did not work out at all. The way Rico pushed up the field helped nothing with Kyle, because Kyle still wanted to play up. So really, we were down to two defensemen at any given point in time, because let's face it, and this is us kind of taking back something we said earlier on in the season with the way Rico had started and Kyle didn't. Kyle has lost it a little bit. He is not quite the speedster that he was. His tracking ability isn't as great. He certainly isn't marking anybody, which is scary to think, especially with Champions League coming up. Knowing some of the contenders that we're going to go up against, just like, I'm happy to see Rico working well out on the right, and I'm looking forward to his progression within the system. But Kyle, for somebody who has been our captain, he needs to, like, take a step back and realize that he is not the same person he was 2-3 seasons ago.
It was noticeable in the first half.
Very noticeable.
The lack of burst, because usually we see a long ball played and maybe the opposing player is in front of him, but Kyle's always able to make up the ground. Didn't see that very much in the first half. Um, Second half overall, I felt like he grew into the game a little bit more and got a little
A
bit
little bit.
better. Um, Not great, not vintage Carl Walker by any means, but I think he definitely improved from first half to second half. Still dicey in possession, and I think it really stands out the technical ability that Rico has over him. When Rico's out there and in those same spaces, we keep the ball much better because he's technically gifted compared to Kyle, because he's come through the city academy since he was a little guy. So he's
Mhm.
been drilled that for the past 10, 11 years. Um, so it's, I, Kyle's caught a lot of slag over the past 8, 10 months from the fan base. Some of it I think warranted for his play. Other of it I think is people just piling on unnecessarily at times. But I
At
think it is
times.
clear that um, he's not, obviously, because he's 34 now. He's an
Right.
older guy. When
Right. He's
even
not.
a world class athlete like he is, you're eventually
Right.
going to lose a step, and that's what made him special. Special was his speed, and when you gets taken away a bit, he's got to find other avenues to make up for that lack of speed now, and it's going to be between the ears and the mental side, and being positioning is going to be more important, and your technical quality is going to be more important. So he's going to have to work on that and get that in there a bit. So Kyle, pretty up and down, not really, I think, poor, to be fair, in the first half. um Second half a little bit better though.
Yeah, for sure. He again. I don't know. I'm just gonna echo what you said. He did progress a little bit better in the second half, but there was still a lot left to be desired. We're still also really young in the season still, guys. Like there's still a lot of work. I mean, his form may pick up. We don't know right now. That's the beauty of this game, isn't it? Sketty Ops, thanks for the question. We'll throw up another one. To be honest, I can't imagine this team without Holland. I mean, there's a reason why we signed him. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt. But like, I don't think that we are incapable without him. I still think that there's a lot up front that can still work. You got to remind yourself that we still have Phil, whom we didn't see today, which was kind of surprising. But also in the same, we're going again into a Champions League week, so having him fresh to go out in one of those competitions, one that he's done really well in. I probably would have done the same thing. I probably would have just kept him in reserve. But yeah, so going into second half,
Yes, we had Pep made two changes at halftime. Rodri came on for Kova.
Mhm.
Large part probably to the yellow card situation, and didn't want him to pick up another one and have to miss time. Um, Also, probably want to get Rodri a few minutes more than just like a 20-25 minute cameo before Champions League, because I would imagine Rodri is going to be back starting here very soon. As great as Kova played those first three games in the first half, we were a different team in the second half when Rodri was on the pitch, and
Oh
I
yeah, night
and
and day.
I love how much praise Kova has been getting from the fan base and on social media from the community for his play, but there's still a very large gap between Rodri and everybody else that plays that
For
role.
sure,
So
for
so
sure.
I'm glad he got in
It's
there.
it's good to know though that we can fall back on somebody and them hold it. Where that has
Facts.
been a question for us for the last, I don't know, 16 months. Not to use the same number as Rodri, that was coincidental, but like,
Sure it
um,
was.
no, no, but really though, I feel a lot better, especially with Gundo coming in the side. I feel he really has shored up what we can do, especially in those holding roles. I mean, you saw Johnny get pushed up a few times, kind of working that 5-6, if you want to call it that,
Hybrid role, yeah.
high total hybrid role. And he looked good on it. It wasn't bad. I mean, he wasn't as great as we've seen it in the past. Um, but yeah, just having security of somebody like Ilkay who knows the system and understands Pep's ball. Moreover, the fact that Mateo has now, worked himself into the system and is being useful and isn't really being as much of a patchwork player as I've kind of slagged him off to be, if you will.
True, but that was at the time made
That was at the
sense,
time.
and now he's since progressed and
He's
become the
for
guy
sure.
we've seen. So you gotta love that. Early on, second half, Savino,
Shit.
justifiably so, given a yellow for
Dude.
diving in the box.
It was it
Can't
was
ar-
it was dude, that was a weak arm hook. That was so fucking weak. And I'm sorry, like I felt so disappointed in him at that moment. I was like, what was that? What were you trying to accomplish there?
As soon as the ref went to his pocket and pulled the card, I was like, you can't be mad
Yep.
at that because
Nope.
that was a very soft, clear what he was trying to accomplish there and trying to do that. I wish more referees would do that and go to the
Yep.
card early for simulation because we see those kind of things happen quite
More
often.
often than
And
yeah.
if it's not a foul and not a penalty, then it should be a card for simulating because they're trying to deceive
Yep.
the referee. And when they don't get penalized for it, they think they can get away with it and they keep doing it. So if you are quick with the yellow on the first time you see something like that, it squashes that from the rest of the game. And if all referees are consistent with that, we'll start seeing that get, slowly worked out of the game. Um,
This match was actually for once I felt like it was fairly refed. There
yeah, he
wasn't
did a good
it
job.
wasn't he did. There wasn't one side or the other where he felt it was a little bit more biased. Like it's very rare, excuse me, that you even see that, especially early on in the season. I guess maybe it's not so bad, but like as you get later in the season, I feel like it gets worse.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I thought that the ref did a really nice job managing the game. Like you said, very fair. A foul on one side was a foul on the other,
On the
and it
other side,
was
yep.
all you can hope for. And he wasn't a story. There wasn't any time where he was being called out or pointed out by anyone because he was,
Yep.
like you said, fair, controlled the match, and called it for both sides. So you got to like that. Second half, nothing crazy goal wise. Obviously, it ended with 2-1. Um, Flecken again had a really
Yep.
strong second half. In the like the late 60th minute, 67th, 68th minute, he had back to back of really tough saves. One on Jack,
Yep.
um, diving with the palm away, and then shortly thereafter, it comes right back in the box, and Holland rips it, and he makes a nice jumping tip save over the bar. So once again, Flecken is a thorn in our side, preventing quite a few goals in the second half. Um,
Yep. Dude, and I don't think Flecken honestly gets enough praise for his capabilities as a goalkeeper.
he
He
can do everything.
every time he plays us, he looks like Superman. Like he
Hmm.
can literally block almost anything. Excuse me. Uh, yeah, I don't think he gets enough praise. I would honestly like to see him even get into a better side than Brentford. Not saying that Brentford's bad; they look pretty decent so far ish. I mean, 2-2. You know, both of your losses come to top flight teams. I can't really say they're that bad. You know what I'm saying?
Nope. Nope.
Um, yeah, but honestly, I would love to see him maybe get into a better side because his capabilities are, in my opinion, untapped. Like we're just seeing like the basic framework of what he can do. So
Yeah, with Brentford, they're going to be a perpetual like mid table squad usually. So
mhm.
they're not going to be featured much on the big games on the weekends, and they're not
Mhm.
playing European football. So you're not going to see him kind of highlighted very much on most broadcasts and highlight shows. But man, that dude's can stop things 1v1. He's composed and strong in the box. He's good with his feet. Um, Not much. There's really nothing you can. There's no weak points in his game from the times that we've watched him play. So definitely somebody to keep an eye on moving forward. I would imagine soon. If not, obviously, mid goalkeepers don't usually move January. So,
No,
but next summer, I would imagine some bigger clubs might be calling his Brentford's
they should be they
phone
should be
lines.
knocking on
And
Brentford's door. Yeah,
can we see what's up with him? Can we get him?
yeah. What's
Um,
that valuation?
exactly. So Kyle, we talked about a little earlier, and earlier in the season, he also was mentioning wanting to bring more goals to his game, and he almost bagged one in the 71st. He had for a for a defender, that was a really good strike. But just went over the bar, unfortunately. You can see how disappointed he was when it just went over, but you need to have some of those from time to time in matches to keep everybody honest and try to pull the packed in defense. Because in the second half, Brentford's game plan pretty much was to put 5 in the back, 4 in front, and then just have their striker kind of chase a little bit. And it was very much packed in around the 18-yard line. So at some point, you got to take a few long shots. Not a lot. One was good, Kyle. Let's keep it there just to keep them honest. And then let's have you keep recycling the ball to our playmakers. Shortly after that, a really nice counter from Joško. He picked up the ball in the middle of the pitch and just took off like a fucking rocket straight down the middle. And the Brentford defense didn't respect the speed, I guess, that he has with the ball, because they took some really poor angles and he just dribbled right past them. He just went straight down the pipe. And it was almost like it's like, dude, where's that Joško that scored like 4 goals in 6 games, where he was like, I'm shooting at every opportunity, because he was a little unselfish, I think, and tried to pass, and then we hit a cross in, and I think Flecken made another beautiful one-on-one save in that opportunity that went and missed, unfortunately. But man, like, Joško's a difference maker when he's out on the pitch.
He really is, man. Dude, him coming on for Rico, a lot of people are like, I don't know about that. Why would you do that? Like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this dude's going to change everything on Rico was not comfortable, Not one time was he comfortable being on the left at all. He was trying to play, like I said earlier, he was trying to play his game in centrally a little bit and trying to help out Jack, especially right there at the top of the box. I can appreciate that, but there's got to be a time where you understand you're too far and not necessary right there, and you've got to fall back. And we did not see that out of him. With Joško, we really don't need it because his track back is a little bit better. And I really, the only reason I think that even is just because we're talking about size difference here. We're talking about somebody who's 6 foot something versus somebody who's 5'9" at best.
Maybe.
Exactly, at best. Probably with like thick sneakers on. You look at him to see how tall he is.
We were generous with Rico and gave him. We gave him like the 2-inch studs on his boots to get to that 5'9", because
5'7".
He's Jordan's height. He's my oldest daughter, who's just turned 13 last month, is 5'7". So they're looking at each other eye to eye.
Right. That's we're not laughing at him. It's just the fact of the matter is that when we're talking about pace, somebody who has longer legs is honestly going to get there a lot faster. Not quicker, but faster, because of the amount that one
can cover more ground.
Like, exactly. So, and at that point in the game when they brought him in, it was so freaking necessary. We needed somebody to stay in his position and be able to get back exactly where he needed to be, or at least hold up the line. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were too many times even where Akanji was a little too far up, or Stones was way far up, and you're like, where's our central defense, bro?
There's nobody there.
Who's going to get that?
I that's one of the things I had earmarked in the back of my head to mention too, was with the back 4 of Rico, Manu, Johnny, and Kyle. All 4 of them like to take some adventures going forward.
Dude,
like far forward, very far forward. And if one goes, at least one has to stay. And when Ruben is out there, when he came on, much more organized. Ruben is always, my job is to hold it back in the middle of the pitch and just clean up anything that comes through. When he's not there, everybody else is kind of like, I can go, and you're gonna just cover that, right? And John's like,
right,
Mono, you're gone. I'm still gonna go too, because I know where's some space I can go occupy. And then Kyle's like, I'm bombing down the right side, and Rico's like next to Holland because he likes me up there. I'm like, they're like, Kova's the only one back there right now, y'all, in the first half. Like, so
Coach has spent a lot of time defending centrally.
Yeah,
far too much time.
Facts. So for me, I was happy with Yoshiko coming in. I wanted Rico to just get put back on his more natural side on the right because, like we mentioned at halftime, Kyle didn't look great. Um, but kudos to Pep for making the call to bring Rico off and let Kyle kind of work through some of his poor performance and to finish on a more positive note because Rico can't play all those matches, and we are going to need Kyle. So you want to kind of instill some confidence in your leader, one of your leaders, and senior members of the club by not yanking him when you've had like a poor performance. So I understand why Pep made that decision. So another yellow for a City player, Johnny, with one of the most professionally tactical fouls you'll ever see, just grabbing a dude by the shoulder and just yanking him back.
Yep.
But that was nope. He knew it. He's just like, I'm taking this yellow for the team. Otherwise, because again, like you mentioned just now, he was and Stonesy was way up. He was
that
forward.
Was a break waiting to happen. Him doing that was absolutely necessary.
So good job, Johnny. Take one for the team there, brother.
Right.
Kind of finishing off the match a little bit. Holland denied the hat trick of hat tricks in the span of like 10-15 seconds. Brilliant strike, just hit the woodwork, and then it comes back to him, and Flecken a defender dove through across.
Flecken.
Yeah. So much good stuff when we get to play him. But defender came just like diving. It reminded me of who is that in Mighty Ducks?
Who couldn't stop?
No, the one it might have been Banksy that like came across and like saved a goal and like took one off the chest.
No, I think that was Averman.
Was it Averman?
I think it was
Averman. yeah, I think you're right. But that play immediately because I had 90s kid and those movies really hit home for me at the time, and I watched them over and over again. Just popped in my head of the diving save from Mighty Ducks. Then that was pretty much it. Bernie and Ruben came on to kind of shore things up to give Stonesy off because he was on a yellow and Jack a breather, and then Nunez came on very, very late, last minute or so, because it looked like Savinho's hammy kind of either cramped up or tightened up on him, and Pep wasn't going to take any chances at that point with him trying to run it off, so he just got him off. Hopefully that's nothing serious, and hopefully it's not his knee injury that kind of popped up 2 weeks ago when we were unsure if he was going to be back. So hopefully he's fine and it's nothing too serious. So 2-1 City victory. Love to see that. Not the greatest performance in the world, but again, it's about results. It's about those 3 points, maintaining that undefeated record, staying top of the table, and just really pleased that we came away with another win.
Same. Sorry, there was another comment that popped up. Somebody said, hold on, I want to read it out since we're going to get close to that anyways. Win a trophy without charges against you. I said, financial illiteracy runs deep with you lot. I can understand why you're hurt. Stupid people, man. People say the dumbest fucking shit. Literally, we'll get into this later because I've got a whole stack of you guys are fucking stupid and you're fucking... Some of your digs are absolutely juvenile. It is so funny. And we can tell why, because you're repressed and can't say certain things. So you say something dumb like, oh, you got rinsed. Yeah, I took a shower. Thanks, dumb fuck. Anyways.
Just rinse and repeat the same old insults that mean...
It's a broken record.
It doesn't mean a thing to any City fan anymore to say...
No.
115 or... We don't give a shit anymore. Right there. Proof.
Right here, bro.
Proof in the pudding. It doesn't bother us anymore for you guys to yell financial charges. You guys are cheaters. 115.
No, you're just financially fucking illiterate. That's why. You don't understand how money works. You know why? Because you get repressed. People don't tell you how to use your money, so you don't understand how it fucking works. It's that simple. Sorry, choo-choo. Here we go.
Yep. Before we hit our midway point and hit our intermission, you know who didn't perform well today and it got a bad result?
Hmm.
The only other club that had a undefeated record to start the season. Liverpool
Ooh.
dropped to Nottingham
I
1-0.
was wondering why. I was wondering why Ryan said Liverpool suck.
That would be why. Now we know. We just checked. I had to do a quick peek at the standings and saw that they lost 1-0 to Nottingham Forest today. So
That stings. That's gotta hurt.
bummer, Scousers.
Bummer.
Major.
Are we getting on our Pauly Shore right now? Is that what's happening?
Which a little bit there. Yes.
All right, let's take a quick intermission. We'll be back to go through some city talk and then some boy talk. I got a little game that we're gonna play with Joe, and I've got some Q&A and some other things. So we'll be back here in a second.
Boom.
All right, so we are into city news and talk. Let's first bounce this thing off with Kevin threatens to leave the Belgium international team.
I missed that one, so tell me a little bit more.
Well, I really don't. I probably should have read a little bit more on this one. It wasn't at the top of my priority list this week. But I can, just from what I've seen over the last couple of seasons with Belgium, they are not and they're just not in their golden era anymore, and that's just what it is. It's not to say that they don't have good players on that team; they do. But I mean, you look at Kev; he's getting a little bit older. Shit, who else? I mean, you have
Well,
Doku.
their
Doku's
golden
there, but I mean,
their golden era was Hazard, KDB,
right,
and Lukaku. And
right,
Lukaku,
and
we know,
it's just
and Hazard is done, and Kevin is, while still amazing, on the tail end. So they're in that transition period now of some young talented guys coming up, but some of the old guys are kind of still there, and that gap isn't really filled. It's much like what happened to the women's national team for the US recently, where they had a bunch of young talented, like 21, 22 year olds that weren't quite ready to take over, and all of their stars were kind of like early to mid 30s, and they didn't have a whole lot of talent and players in that in between 23 to 28 range to like bridge the gap between the young stars and the proven older stars. You got to have a little bit of all that, and right now Belgium has got a gap in between their older generation and the new generation coming up.
Sure.
And it doesn't really seem like they enjoy playing with each other. Like ever.
No, they
don't.
It definitely looks like a chore. Like
yes.
like they're
We have
forced
to do this shit.
there.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's for a team that has as much pride, for a country that has as much pride in their football team as Belgium does. Like, I'm sure this hurts a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like you're feeling a little bit hopeless. Who's to say that in the next couple of seasons there won't be some talent that emerges?
Mm-hmm.
It's very possible. I mean, this one thing about this game is that it never stops revolving with talent.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Big facts.
So, next thing up, England boys, they won 2-0. We didn't get to cover that last week as they played right after our episode.
Yep.
I gotta say, Carsley looks his tactics and form is very reminiscent of a certain Catalan. He the way that he positioned everybody, I really felt like I was watching us. Like I was watching City. Running the 4-3-3, having Phil work the way that he's supposed to. You had Jack, who was doing
Again, playing the
he's
10
on a
role.
consistent route. He's playing a 10, but and one thing that I want to make mention on is how consistent he has become over these last few matches, and even going back into Euros. That's something that I think every one of us has called for at some point in his existence in Sky Blue, that he needed to be more consistent and we needed a little bit more out of him. Well, he's given exactly what he was supposed to be doing from the jump. I mean, again, when I say from the jump, you guys, a lot of people just still haven't gotten in their head that there's still that year of acclimation for certain players. It's just going to happen, is what it is. He has slowly transitioned up. I understand why a lot of people gripe about the 100 million pound price tag that was put on him, because in your mind you think that would produce a lot more, but that's English tax for you, I guess. Yeah. Anyways, England looked great. I'm really looking forward to what's to come for them, especially if they keep Carlsley on.
That's what's going to be my question for our English friends across the pond was,
do you want to see him stay?
He's doesn't have a long contract. He's just interim right now. Should he stay on? I haven't really seen a lot of news or clamoring for any particular hire for them. Doesn't seem like they're in a rush to we need to get somebody new in.
There's always somebody who throws out the pep thing, and it's just water wet, dude.
Yeah. So for our English lads, let us know eventually. Comments, hit us up on socials. What do y'all think the national team's going to do managerial wise? Because the U.S. job has been taken. Pochettino is officially signed on. He's in and moving forward with us. Pretty massive opening and big time opportunity for somebody. What names out there are y'all looking for? So let us know on socials this week who y'all think is going to be coming in to the managerial spot. Bit of bad news we mentioned briefly with Ake. Looks like he's going to be out through the next international break after getting carted off in the Netherlands match against Germany. You can see how much pain he was in.
I really wish I'd have gotten to see that firsthand to see what it was. I mean, I don't remember what I was doing, or even if it was being played here in America on TV.
I think it was on Fubo.
Was it?
Yeah, but
that's
it's the Nations League. It depends on which one is on Fox 2 or whatever it is. So
they've split between FS1, FS2, and a major broadcast channel.
Yeah.
Which has been nice, because at least we're getting to see some fucking ball and not just sitting here with our thumb in our ass for 2 weeks. I have to say that is nice, but yeah. No, I like I said, I wish I would have gotten to see what had happened to cause that injury. It obviously did not look good. And him being out, considering what we saw today in our rotation, I mean, yes, we can still hold it together, but he is the epoxy now that's missing. Just as a safe bet, maybe more of a fallback, but not so much an epoxy.
It showed today that if Joško needs a break or we try to rotate, that we were definitely missing that other left-sided defender, whether he's playing as a center back or as a out-and-out left back. We were missing that left-footedness on that side. And Ake's been so consistent for us when he's come in and just puts in a very professional shift. And he might not be the attacking presence of a Rico, of a Joško, but man, that dude is solid defensively. We are very hard to break down when he's out there too. Might lose a little bit going forward, but man, he's a lockdown defender when he's in. So gonna miss him. Thankfully, knock on wood, everybody else in the back line is healthy and fully fit for the next string of matches, because we're gonna start pick up in the number of
Oh, yeah.
midweek matches and
About to be
everything going
real
forward.
freaking busy up in this motherfucker.
Exactly. So
Speaking of that, guys, if you didn't know, if you haven't
reminder,
seen already,
reminder.
reminder, we're going to be going live Wednesday nights. So that means we'll be doing 2 episodes a week live on Wednesday nights following the final Champions League match week, match days. So be sure to tune in. That's right. You heard it first, Steve. Yeah, be sure to check us out on Wednesday nights. We actually are also going to be dropping. We were supposed to drop it today. I decided against it, considering when we'll be wearing said kit. But the 4th kit, we will be donning our 4th kit on that episode, as well as our Champions League garb. So we'll be doing a split set that on that episode. Speaking of the 4th shirt, since we're already here, highest selling in city history, which is to me almost like unfathomable because there were so many people knocking it. Like, it's a
Yes,
shit
all we heard
shirt.
when it
Oh
first
my
leaked,
god.
and now it's the highest selling kit
Yeah, like
ever.
go figure. I get the
And
novelty behind it too because of Oasis and shit. So maybe that was the final deciding factor. But like, if you didn't see it right from the beginning without being given context as to what was there, like you knew it had something to do with Noel and Liam. So like, why
and
that why it wasn't given its due right off the rip is
and
it shows some things to me, but I'm not
the
going to say them out
and the kits always look more shitty when they're on those mannequins and when they're like in the grainy videos from like footy headlines and everything like that. You can't really
Especially,
tell
yeah.
what the kit's
It's
gonna look like on the players at that point. And it looks
yeah,
better
you
now
see
that I've
this
seen it
you
in
see this
person and
model
everything.
thin mannequin, and you're like, well, that ain't fitting on me, right? So I don't know
Right.
how I feel about it, right?
Right. Something else on this topic that popped up on my scrolling, not a lot, but there was a couple of city accounts that seemed to be pissy that they're debuting this at home, because when we're at home we have to wear a sky blue and it's the Etihad and we have to wear this particular color. And
Oh my
do you
god.
understand marketing? Do you
Right? No, they
like
honestly, and this isn't us bashing everybody because some of y'all do, but most of y'all just don't. Like this has become a global brand. There are certain things that you need to do, especially when you have a major touring act who just after so many years decided to get back together, like, and they're a part of the club, like paid in.
Yes,
So why
of
wouldn't they do
course.
that at home? Like,
The first Champions League
is
match.
there do logical gears turn in most of y'all's heads? I hope they do because that would be the logical answer.
It just makes, of course, they're going to debut that at home
Yeah,
in Manchester, because they, again, over the summertime, they probably also heard from their influencers that are big in the club. We know who they are
yep,
in and around the club, that they weren't thrilled that the third kit, the maroon, was unveiled first in America.
right.
So they're like, you know what? Instead of debuting that kit in some European country, not our own, we're going to do it at home for our fans because they love Oasis. It's clearly a big deal. So we're doing this. Why are we like, it's like some, just not City fans, but just people in general, just people, when we're talking about people, just find everything they can to bitch about something
Oh,
and find
dude,
something just to whine about and complain about. Like, why be
that's
negative all the
that's who
time? That's a
because
choice.
that's who makes it now today, Joe. People who whine, complain, and scream, the Karens of the world, if you will. We have become a world of fucking wimps. I take that as you will. If you don't like it, be feel free to leave. If you are that type of person, you're not what's good for society. You are what's wrong with society, in my opinion. Because if you can't take that, like, and just whatever, I'm not going to go too far because I don't want to hurt. I don't want to hurt feelings. We're going to hurt some feelings here in a little bit.
No need to get worked up and
No,
complain and
no,
whine about shit. It's
no.
it's not
Especially
that deep.
it's out of your control.
No, zero. None of us have any control over this. So
No, dude, just deal
just
with
enjoy
it.
it. Just
Yeah,
enjoy it.
dude.
The City's back in the Champions League. Their first game is at home. New cool Oasis kit. Let's just have fun
What
with
more
it.
can you ask for, dude? Like, what other clubs do you know do shit like this? Let's be
None.
real. None. Do you see Wolves doing anything for Elton John? No. Like, I don't.
Ipswich has Ed Sheeran, and they're not
Well,
like
and
putting.
he's the owner.
Yes. So it's like, come on now. They're trying to do cool shit for us. Let
Yeah,
them do
dude.
it.
And sports is not just sports; it's entertainment. It is to
That part.
entertain you. Okay, there is a famous saying, and I'm going to use it. All right, give them bread, give them circuses, and they will have no reason to revolt. It's kind of what's happening right here. They're giving you bread and they're giving you circuses, and you're having none of it. Like, from the perspective, I'm saying that you probably shouldn't, but like, they're giving you something to cheer about, and be proud of. How can you not be proud that your club is being innovative? How can you not be proud that your club is doing shit that other people aren't? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's that
Consistently.
we stand above other people consistently. Exactly as that. You don't see fucking shit United getting the stuff that we get. The
Not even
things that
close.
we just not even close, man. Be proud. Be proud of the Sky Blue and what we do.
Amen to that, dude. More,
Transfer
more.
transfer target rumors.
Now it's not just Jamal Musiala, it's Florian Wirtz and Javi
Xavi
Simmons,
Simmons. Yeah.
who I like. I like him a lot too.
I like him too, but I'm not sold on him being in our side. I Jamal Musiala, we've talked to this on at nauseum about it, and it's just like what he can provide immediately to the club is what we need,
Hmm.
especially with the way that we work centrally, how Phil works. So like, he's going to end up having to be the replacement for Kev. It's just simple as that. But I mean, I can see Florian a little bit. I would rather have Javi if I'm being
Hmm.
honest. I like what he can do as well in the box, a little bit more so. But what's your take on it?
I feel like the rotation is going to be Xabi Alonso is going to leave Leverkusen. At that point, Wirtz is going to see the writing on the wall and know that they're not going to be able to maintain that same level of competitiveness without him.
Mm-hmm.
And Florian is going to get poached by Bayern because that's what Bayern does. As soon as any young talent starts seeing
Especially if
like they
Jamal
need
goes
a
out.
Jamal's going to not stay, and we're going to swoop in, snatch that up, and then Florian's going to go in and replace him. And I like Simmons as well. Um, he seemed to be like the wandering player lately because he's been at Leipzig, he's been at
Mhm.
PSG briefly, and then he's been loaned out a bunch of times from them because he does. They apparently don't think he's good enough to play for them, even though he is. Um,
Right.
and then he's bounced around like place to place, so he hasn't found himself a home yet. I hope he does eventually find one landing spot. I just don't think it's going to be with us. Uh,
Mm-mm.
Priority wise, Musiala is one for sure.
Oh yeah, far and
And
away
then
the
yes,
number one choice out of the three.
so and then if we don't get him, there are going to be other options available. We have plenty of guys next summer to choose from if and when Kev decides to go at that point in time. So
Right.
be interesting to see what happens, but I do think Musiala is clearly the number one target going forward, and we have plenty of cash in the
Oh
stores to
yeah.
take care of it after this past window and the last couple windows where we've sold a bunch and not bought a bunch. So there's no financial fair play issues there, folks. We've sold hundreds of millions of dollars of players at this point, so we can go get whoever we need to going forward. So whatever
Mhm.
price tag 125 is on that kid, they can pay it, and I won't feel bad about it.
No. Well, and we, like you said, we've kind of basically built a war chest.
Hmm.
Uh, in this instance, I mean, the money that we have not spent, to say, I mean, to be close to the truth, that we haven't spent, which could have been spent and wasn't, has literally just we're just saving it away and putting it back for a rainy day. This is what I love. about what we're doing, especially in the financial realm, is we know how to. And a lot of it, I think, part of it, well, not a lot of it, part of it comes from our scouting. I mean,
Hmm.
knowing where to find these players out of nowhere and bring them in for 13, 15 million pounds, and then raise their value within a season. I can't. The best working formula in sports right now. Sports,
It's,
all the
it's
sports.
what they do.
Yep.
One of our
Yeah.
guys we've already brought in, kind of sticking with the transfer, talk. Somebody we've already purchased appears to be coming uh, to the Etihad in January. Claudio Echeverri is coming, and it appears he's joining up and staying as of now with the
That's
mothership,
great.
and going to learn from the first team guys instead of getting sent out on loan somewhere else mid-season, which I think is absolutely the right move to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let him be around all of that talent in the dressing room and on the training pitch, and let him just
Mm-hmm.
learn and soak it up with zero responsibility game time. When he gets in, he gets cameos here and there. Um, but just let him see what it takes to be a Man City player. And then, depending on how he does, revisit that in the summertime, and maybe find a more season long type loan. Because a kid, he's still 18, he's so young.
Yep.
But if they show that they're capable of contributing and being professional, then maybe he sticks around. It doesn't have to go out on loan, much like
Mm-hmm.
Oscar Bob and some of the other guys that have stuck with the first team at a young age. So
Mm-hmm.
excited to see him jump in. That'll be right around when Oscar's coming back from injury too. So we'll have a little bit of youthful reinforcement coming without having to dip into the funds or anything like that. So that'll be
Yeah.
good to see, because he's
Be
also
really
another
great to have
attacking
him right
right now.
right
Yeah, I
now.
know.
Yeah, dude. Just to shore things up, you know what I mean? With still having Bob, and now even with Savino, looked like he might be on a knock again.
Hmm.
Because we didn't say that earlier during the thing, but he was pulled off. Or no, did he finish?
He came
I'm
off in
having
like the
memory
last minute.
lapse.
Nunez came on for him in the last
Right.
minute.
That's right. It was like the 90th, 91st minute.
He came
He
off
he
holding
came
his
on.
hammy.
Yep. So and honestly, I felt like we fed him to the sharks a little bit too early. I think maybe let him have the week, not put him in Champions League, but let him go into the weekend. Maybe he would have been a little bit fresher. The hamstring would have been such an issue, but who the fuck are we, right? Um, who the
Facts.
fuck are we?
Off the field
So
news too. Um,
starts this week.
the trial starts on Monday for the 115 charges. We'll see what transpires there. Um, I don't know if we have like a resolution date. It's gonna kind of go, and then I'm sure it's gonna take a while for the judge or arbiter or whoever ends up making the decision for it to happen, because we've seen this drag out for so long. We know that it's not gonna be a quick process, but the trial officially
Hasn't been a
starts.
quick process at all to
No,
begin with.
but at least the trial itself starts Monday, so we'll start to get some bit of closure. One piece that we should have closure on by the end of the month, which will have an impact on the 115 trial, is our lawsuit against the Premier League. With it should be reports are that there should be a decision by the end of September, and supposedly, depending on who you read, um, the city sides feel like there will be some favorable results coming out of this, because this isn't just like a one decision thing. There's a lot of pieces in the lawsuit that goes with it.
Mhm.
But the city side apparently feels pretty confident, which they have maintained throughout the lawsuit and the charges trial that's about to start, that positive results will happen. So we got a lot of off the pitch news going to be popping off here pretty soon, with
Mhm.
the resolution of the lawsuit hopefully soon, and then um, the trial kicking off. So very excited to get this decided, both things, and eventually push behind us over the next 6-8 months, however long it ends up being. I'll just be happy that it's over and done with, and we won't have to hear this shit anymore.
Big facts. because really getting tired of the comments, getting really tired of the repetitiveness, getting really tired of it's a broken record, guys. It really is, especially to all the fucking haters out there. If we got any of you in here, here's that for you. Number one, number two. Um, let's talk about this, okay? Because again and again, we get the same fucking rhetoric from people, the charges, this, that, and the other, which they probably don't fucking have a goddamn clue about, other than the number 115.
That's the only thing they
Uh,
know.
that's the only thing they know. And because they made it such a big number, it's an easy spectacle to make of. Well, here's the funny part. A lot of these charges are the same fucking charge and will end up getting thrown out and consolidated down into one massive fine. That's probably what's going to end up happening. You're going to probably say, "Oh, we fucked with the system, fucking is cheating." Blah. You'll find some other fucking stupid excuse to come up with when it's all said and done. But I want to ask one thing, because this is one thing that I'm sorry. It doesn't matter if Big Steve is on here or Daps or whom the fuck ever. The American thing. I gotta ask a question. What is the prejudice from English people to Americans? I have to know, because there's so many times where somebody says something utterly baseless, probably doesn't know an American from fucking Adam, only knows what they see on the fucking TV, which is a complete illusion, by the way. If you believe the fucking media, you're fucking part of the problem, and you're a
That part.
perpetuator of bullshit, which nobody has time for. It to me is nothing more, from our perspective, a little bit of jealousy. Like, sorry, your ancestors didn't fucking come over here on the Mayflower. Like, sorry, my ancestors didn't decide to stay behind, or else I'd fucking be there. It's so childish and stupid and honestly gutless. I think if you come after somebody for their nationality, you're a gutless fucking piece of shit. And you literally don't have anything better going on in your life, so you have to go out of your way to make somebody feel bad for something that they had no control over with to begin with. It's just,
That part, what you just said, is exactly it. Anytime you pick on somebody, make fun of, insult
it's so
based on something that a person cannot control,
right.
like there's so many things that people can't control, and you
How
pick.
many times have you been to Etihad? Dude, do you think it's just that
You
easy
never
for
been
me
to
to
Main
get on
Road.
a fucking plane? Right? Like,
I was.
there's so many dumb things that they say. Like, bro, do you think we're all just made out of money over here, that we could just hop a flight whenever the fuck we want? No. As a matter of fact, the pound is a lot more valuable than the dollar if you don't know fucking money and economics, which is clear that most of you fucking don't. Like, I just I really hope one day you guys, like, just you fall and choke on a dick. That's what I really. You guys are nothing more than a bunch of fucking wank stains.
And
You have
this is specifically to the people who throw
yes,
shade at us in comments that are from over there. Just
you are an utter wank
so it's
stain.
clear.
Yeah, this isn't to our loyal supporters. We
And
appreciate you. We
our
love
buddies
you
and
guys.
friends that we've
And our buddies
cultivated
and
at this
friends
point.
that exactly. This isn't about you guys. We've already assessed the ground there and understand there's a mutual understanding that we just don't do that to each other. Awesome. But for the rest of you bellends who just sit in the comments and want to be keyboard warriors, remember that we're doing this and you're not, because you have no fucking balls to do it. It's just as simple as that. If you had the balls, you wouldn't be in the comment section. You'd be doing what we're doing, but you're not, because you're too much of a pussy. I'm sorry if that hurt your feelings. Actually, I'm not sorry if that hurt your feelings. So there's that. Joe, do you have anything more to add to my little rant? Because, like, I could go on this forever, but these people don't deserve that much fucking time, so I'm not going to give it to them.
That part right there. They are not worth our time at this point. And it's just, thank you for dropping a bunch of comments on our shit.
Right?
That helps boost our numbers a bit, so thank you. We appreciate that. But we got a comment just popped in from Steve.
From Steve Black. Hey guys, we get that in UK.
Okay,
How
so
many
it's not-
times? How many take no notice of the? We try to, man, but like when they overpower the comment section and we're getting overrun. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we supposed to do? And it's gonna piss anybody off. Like, yes, real emotions are there. Like, it pisses us off because it's so baseless and so dumb. If there was some like actual weight to it, maybe I would like rescind my position. But at this very point in time, there's the actions thereof of UK people or English people doing this shit. Like, you're tarnishing your country's reputation by being this way. Nobody wants to fuck with you guys because you guys are just a bunch of fucking assholes on the internet. Like, I know that's everywhere. That's not to say, but it's just from our purview. Like, these are the people that we deal with on a regular basis. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
most of our interactions are from folks across the pond
Exactly.
because
If you look at our numbers, our demographic numbers, or in our statistics and our analytics, we have 70% of our viewership comes from over there, and I'm assuming most of it is the blue side of Manchester. Hope so. But it just I don't from what I've understand too, like, people walk through the streets and just assholes to each other. Not to say that they aren't here in America in some places, but
100%
for
happens
the
around here
most,
too.
yeah, but for the most part, once you go out into like real life places and not city centers, people are actually fucking nice and like want to see you do okay or make sure that you are okay if you're not. Like, otherwise, I don't know. It just
It's
very
frustrating.
disheartening. It's frustrating. It's disheartening. Steve, thanks for hitting that comment and telling us to pay no notice to it. But all in the same, man, like, it, you can't just let a fucking bully continue to keep doing his shit. He's got to be called out for what he is.
And if you actually want to have a debate about something and
Yeah,
talk about it, that is totally fine. We're here for that kind of stuff.
right.
And
But you
actually have an intellectual conversation about it. But when all you're doing is just recycling the same old bullshit and
right,
insults
and you're
and not trying to
talking
have a
at
conversation,
people.
yeah, have a conversation. There's a way of doing that via text. Like, we're all now supposed to be super tech savvy, or text, not tech, text savvy at this point, because so much communication now is not necessarily verbal. It's through words on a screen. So people know how to communicate at this point and have an actual conversation without being a jerk about it.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's just talking at people is different than talking with people. And too often, not just us, it's all the podcasters, especially in any community, get talked at. Like, you're not important enough for me to fucking recognize that you just talked at me. So if you're gonna do that, I don't have to give you my attention. And you know what? That's also a part of free speech. Freedom of speech is not having to respond. If I don't want to respond to you because all you are is an antagonizer, like, I don't have to give you my energy, and you don't have to be here.
Hmm.
Jealousy, it is a poor person's. That's a poor person's friend and game. Misery loves company, isn't it? Absolutely fucking ridiculous. But you know what? We're gonna wipe it away. We're moving forward. We're not going to deal with these fucking assholes anymore. We're just going to put them on blast and make them look like idiots. If anything we do. Um. But yeah, Joe, you just added something. What'd you add?
Me? Oh, I deleted something random in the
Ooh,
notes.
got you. All right, so we're done with that now. We're now at the point where I get to play with Joe. And don't take that the wrong way.
I like the sound
So,
of this already.
right. So last week, if you guys were here and you caught it, Joe kind of did like a little Q&A with me. It's kind of a part of our mission to kind of help you guys get to know us a little bit better beyond football. There's a lot of the podcasts out there that are just so football centric that it doesn't really make for a great show, so to speak. Um, yeah, Steve, we move on. What was I saying? So yeah, part of this is that we want you guys to feel like you're a part of us. You know what I mean? We don't want you to just feel like you're being talked at and all these, just football. It's not all about football. This is also about having fun and being a community. So with that in mind, I have several different things that I went above and beyond what Joe did last week. So
Oh boy.
we can start, and I'll give Joe the option as to where we go with this. So I have a couple of questions, right? I have a hypothetical. I have a
Okay.
this or this or that, and then I have Q&A on, well, it's more of a quiz on City, and then I also have a picture game that I made.
Oh boy.
So
All
where
the
would you
fun
like to
tonight.
start? All the fun tonight. So where would you like to start?
Let's go with the hypothetical first.
All right. Man, this is
Oh God.
off rip. This is gonna be hilarious. If when you die, someone
Mhm.
takes the VR headset off of your head and asks you how the virtual life was, what's the first thing you say? You're in a psyop. This is the Matrix.
Yep.
You thought you died, but you didn't.
So I'm like waking up from the
You're
Matrix.
you are Neo being unplugged from the Matrix. What is your first? What's the first thing that comes out of your mouth?
Where's the toilet? I gotta take a shit.
Straight Austin Powers, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
I got a shit.
I gotta just keeping it real, folks.
Oh my god.
I need the bathroom.
Top notch answer. I got a shit. All right. So I'm sorry. Oh,
You're
what's the
welcome.
115 coverage in the States, by the way?
From my experience, the other folks that I deal with that are also into football that are not City fans, same exact shit. They just quote
Yeah,
115. You guys are
they don't know what the fuck you're
cheaters.
talking about.
They don't actually know much of anything, nor have they actually read what the charges are about and how many are what. So, from our experience, the 115 coverage here from other fans is the exact same shit that y'all get. And there
Parrots.
isn't. Yes, they're just parroting what they've read and seen on social media, and then if you're talking coverage wise, like
As far as
media
like
coverage,
ESPN, yeah, there's
they don't
zero
talk
of it.
about that. They don't talk about that shit.
ESPN FC will touch it time to time. If in the in the day there was a Man City match, it may get touched, but rarely. I mean, it's going to be more prevalent in your guys' face because this is your main sport. You know, for us, it's ESPN really only cater, like if we're talking about mainframe flagship ESPN, they only cater to American football, baseball, hockey, and basketball. They touch a little bit on women's soccer. They touch a little bit on men's soccer, but again, only when it's happening. It's not like a constant thing that they talk about every
It's
here and
not
there.
in
Like
the daily news cycle.
the Premier League does not exist to the vast majority of Americans. Still,
It's
and
ge-
honestly,
it's getting better, but it's still
it
not
is.
the
It
same.
is. But until ESPN makes it more of a main focus into their programming, it's just not going to happen. Furthermore, until U.S. soccer is actually worth a shit, it's just not going to get covered. It's just not. It's just not in our. It's not in the American purview, and it sucks because for us, I would love to be able to sit down and watch Sky Sports or BN or something like just over there and catch their perspective because, as we all know, most American perspectives on the game are so diluted and just utterly unintelligent. Really, most people don't even realize, even from across seas, that Americans have actually been in the game for a very long time. We've had several leagues; they've all failed. We've had several leagues over the last century. The best working one out of all of them actually started in like 1900 or 1901 and ran all the way till the 30s, right up into World War II, which was honestly what caused it to disband and not get back together. It was actually on a roll there, and they actually were bringing over players from England and Germany and shit like that were big name players at the time. Um, but it's just there's two things that I see as to why it is not as big here too. Is one, monetary greed right off rip. It doesn't. if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. You get what I'm saying? But then there's also the fact of geography. When you look at England, right? It's an island. You guys have like fucking 800 teams, and I'm exaggerating. Um, but you guys have 800 teams, whereas in the United States we only have 35 major cities in total, maybe a little bit more than that. And I won't even call them major. A lot of them have a very small market, and their communities can't afford to bring in certain things. You had like MLS did it a little bit, I guess, with like Austin because they're kind of a second or third market team, even though their financial support is a little bit better than most. Um, Even San Diego, them getting a team, just shortly there. Well, I mean, both the LA teams have been around for a while, but then you would think that they would try to take that Southern California area and just only make it about LAFC or Galaxy, and it's not. Which is good to the means the sport's growing, but again, we're talking about smaller markets. Like I live in a rural town in the most northern part of Virginia that you can get. The game is only starting to come around here. Where if you go an hour southeast of me, or close to where Joe lives, the game is very prevalent. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of talent in this area,
Mm-hmm.
but it gets superseded by a lot of these clubs that have popped up over time, and they're only picking those who are able to pay for it. My both of our children are in at the club level, and even Joe, his daughter's in with Liverpool FC satellite team here in America. It's pay to play. It's not cream of the crop. Merit gets you to the top. It just doesn't work like that, and that's honestly why it sucks here in America because the talent pool isn't even being remotely close to touched, and it's because it's not popular. Kids are not getting into it quite as fast. Now it's this generation, our children are very much into the game, and it's
Mm-hmm.
because we have the ability to pay to watch it on Peacock if it comes on USA or NBC on your nationally broadcasted stuff. Um, ESPN Plus, we have to pay for if you want to watch any FA Cup Masters, Champions League or Europa. You have to pay for Paramount Plus. So it's like you have to pay for all these services, but at least it's accessible now. Whereas when we were growing up, completely inaccessible. You had 3 games, maybe
Maybe.
a weekend, and you always had to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and turn on USA if you wanted to watch a game. So it was very hard for us. It's very hard for it to gain the traction and it should have, especially when we're talking about the top flight of the Premier League. We're 5 hours off just on the East Coast, and then you're talking about another 4 to the West Coast. So we're talking about 9 hours in difference. It doesn't really make a lot of sense in that way. I'm glad, but I mean, it's not to say that I feel like I'm talking in circles, but yeah, you get where I'm coming from. Sorry for that long tangent, Joe.
All good, man. That's why we do. It's a Saturday afternoon. It's all good.
It is a Saturday afternoon. I feel like I should have a beer right now. Um, all right, so moving on. It's crazy USA, another big world player. It seems so long since you had the World Cup.
Been a while.
It's been a while.
2 years though is coming here. So
yes, sir. And we'll be attending. So any of you who are coming over, it'd be really cool to connect and see you guys out. Especially as we'll be supporting both England and the United States. So where do we want to go with this game now? These questions. Do you want to go to personal? Well, not personal. Yeah, personal questions. Do you want to go to this or that Q&A on City, or do you want to play the photo game?
give me this or that next.
This or that. All right, these are going to be rapid fire.
Okay.
All right, and it's going to change out of nowhere.
Okay.
Okay, ready? All right. So, Foden or Silva,
Foden.
Ederson or Hart,
Eddie.
Company or Diaz,
Company.
Walker or Micah. Sorry,
Kyle.
Yaya or Rodri,
Rodri.
Sane or Doku,
Sane.
Oreos or Chip Ahoy,
Oreos.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Mexican or Chinese?
Mexican.
Italian or Mexican?
Oh, Italian.
Steak or lobster?
Steak.
Blue crab or snow crab?
Snow crab.
My man. All right, now here's some Bender questions. All right. Would you rather be as tall as you are wide or as wide as you are tall? And this is funny for you considering how big you are.
Repeat it one more time.
Would you rather be as tall as you are wide or as wide as you are tall?
Option 1.
Fair.
Because otherwise, it'd be very odd looking blob of a person being that wide.
You would look like the Violator. You would look like the Violator from Spawn. I'm the Violator.
For those who don't know, I'm 6'7" tall,
yeah.
so I'm a very tall person. So if I was to be that wide, it would be very odd looking. So I'll be the little shorter, but like little and whatnot. I'll go Ant-Man style.
All right, last one. Would you rather be baby birded by a stranger every time you eat, or baby bird your food to your family for the rest of your life?
Oh my god.
Is an
family
disgusting
family. Family.
That's an ultimately disgusting question.
Stranger Germans? Nope. I couldn't do it. At least I'm giving to my children instead of. Oh my god. Babe. Yeah, you did.
I'm sorry, dude. When I was running through this and I was looking up these questions.
that one probably popped out very quick.
I peed myself.
Yes.
Oh, nothing like a Saturday one, isn't it, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that goes through our this or that. So now we are down to questions, Q&A, or picture game.
Questions.
All right. And anybody in the comments, if you feel that you want to take a stab at the Q&A, please feel free. So first question. In which year did Manchester City move from their old ground of Main Road to the City of Manchester Stadium? Give you a hint. You were in high school.
I want to say 03.
Where's my little thing? Oh, that's got that one. That's not the sound I wanted to use, but I was like, fuck it.
We're going with it.
All right, question 2. Pellegrini is the first blank manager ever in the Premier League.
Chilean?
Bingo.
Bam.
All right. Question 3. What does superbia and paralia mean in English?
Pride in battle. Which I really, really want to get tattooed on myself at some point.
I think so. That's going to be a duel happening. We're going to go do that together.
Facts.
I think we had already spoken on it, and
Mm-hmm.
we just need to we need to put word to motion at this point.
Facts.
So, question 4. What famous West Coast rapper supports City? He's not woke, I'll tell you that. I should narrow it down.
I'm drawing a blank.
Really?
I
All right.
am.
I'll give you this. I'll give you this hint. He is a member of NWA.
Is it producer of NWA? Or is it
I'm not
Cube?
telling. I'm not telling you what their title was within who they were because it will give it all away.
I'm gonna go Dre.
No, wrong one. He goes by the name O'Shea Jackson, aka Ice Cube.
Cube. I said his name and I.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you
Damn
almost
it.
got it. Yeah. All right. Fifth question. What famous Chinese-born action star supports City?
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan!
I fucking love Jackie Chan, dude.
Which
Grew up
James
on his
Bond?
movies.
Right.
Which
Rush Hour
that's
3.
a good question.
It is. Yeah, you're a little bit more knowledgeable than us. We get it. I don't know. I would love.
It's not
to
the
say,
most
like,
recent one. I don't think it's.
No,
I don't think it's Daniel Craig.
Craig. Pierce Brosnan would be the only one that I could possibly think of. He probably supports some like little club down near London, though.
We need to know the answer.
Yeah, Steve, you need to give us the answer.
Because I don't want to search it and then act like I know what I'm talking about. I want to be honest and say I don't know the answer to that question.
All right. Last question. Where did Johnny Stones hang it?
In the Louvre?
Timothy Dalton. Shit, I should have known that. I actually was looking through a list of famous City supporters, and he was, I want to say he was on the second page. Now we know. Now we know. All right. Moving on. We have the picture game, and we've got 4 questions.
Let's do picture game next.
Picture game. All right. So, on the picture game, I'm going to give you like 15 seconds off the shot. Well, I'll you know what? I'll pause it, so I'll give you a few seconds. But we got three different players. I won't say whether they're current or present, or current or past. Just by the shadow or the silhouette, you have to guess who they are. All right.
Okay.
All right. Here is number 1.
Ruben?
You sure about that?
No,
Not sure.
I'm not sure, but that's the first name that came to my head.
Look at the hand.
Not even close. I was thinking, like, I've seen a lot of pictures of Ruben, like, clapping. Can you get off of me, dog? Old Scotty
All right,
Carson.
so 0 for 1. 0 for 1. Guess number 2.
Bernie?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Good no. Yeah.
0 for 2.
I did good with the city quiz, though. I did really good with that one.
You did.
I'm going to get one of these bitches. I'm going to get at least one.
This is your last one, so. I hope you get this one.
I feel like that's Jules.
Is that your final answer?
So poofy hair. Well, clearly not, because you've asked me that twice and I've been wrong both times.
Well, I was gonna ask you that every time, regardless. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Oh, you're gonna be so mad.
His new fucking hair throwing me off. God damn it.
Oh, 0 for 3, dude. Man, all right. So I think we're going to keep this game up since you've already
Joe,
lost.
yes, and Joe needs to practice more. So I got to get better at that. I can't go 0 for 3 next time.
No, you can't. No, I'm gonna bump it up next time, and I'm even going to go past and present players. So I'm really gonna fucking throw you off.
You even took them straight from like their profile pickoffs too. So that, like, God, that's
I
just
can tell
poor
that you're
form.
well. Sometimes shapes just don't register in your head for long periods of time. I don't know. Like
I saw the fluff of the hair, and I was like, that looks kind of like Jules's fluff, but clearly it was Kev's new mane of hair.
gorgeous, gorgeous.
It is. It is. He looks great.
Strawberry blonde hair. All right, so we're down to the questions. I got 4 different questions. They're a little personal, but not too personal. First question, and this is purely for my knowledge, but also for everybody else's, because I I think not most people know how much music like literally is involved in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I can literally find a soundtrack to anything in life. Finding a song for a moment, whatever it may be. I probably should have been the guy who on TV shows like curates the music for the show. I think I probably would have been really good at that. Missed that mark.
Facts.
Really bad. But my first question is, and this is going to be a 3-part question.
3-parters.
3-parter. I need you to give me your top 3 music genres first.
Top 3 music genres. R&B.
Okay.
I would say R&B and hip hop have to be there for me because that was a big chunk of my formative years. Mm-hmm. And then I was raised on country music from my parents and my mom specifically. So if I'm basing it off of have had the biggest impact on me, those would be my top 3. Would be R&B and hip hop, and then country as well.
That honestly tracks geographically.
Yes.
Most people in the greater DC area listen to either hip hop and R&B, or they listen to country. With the spot of pop music thrown in there.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, top 3 musicians/bands of all time.
Of all time? Oh my God.
All time.
For
doesn't
personal
matter
or just like okay, personal?
Personal. This is personal.
Journey.
Okay.
Huge Journey fan. Not in my genre choice of the 3 that had most impact on me, but we have Journey vinyl all up in this house, and huge Journey fan. Went and saw
that's
them
in every white person's catalog.
Yes, 100%. Has to be. Their catalog is just so deep, and I saw them in person. I saw them, Heart, and Cheap Trick when it was still Nissan Pavilion.
I remember that one,
and
I almost went to it too.
That concert was like absolutely life-changing. So
yeah,
I'll go Journey for me. We talked about him earlier. I listened to a ton of Ed Sheeran. I have like all of his
that's the
albums.
One I saw coming out your mouth.
No, I love me some Ed Sheeran. And then I would have to go with. God, it's hard to pick. Just like, get out of here. There we go.
Dude, I didn't think this was gonna be that hard.
I listened to like such an
eclectic
version, so it's hard to. I'm going to give one from one of my genres, and I'm going to go country artists. And you and I spoke about him yesterday, texting Tim McGraw.
McGraw, okay.
Uh,
All right.
Huge. That was my mom's like absolute favorite guy growing up.
Mm,
So I
fits the era.
listened to a ton of of Tim McGraw growing up,
Mm.
and so being put on the spot, I'll go with those three. But knowing there's quite a few more that could make
I
the
was I
top.
was 100% waiting for Zach Bryan to come out. 100%.
Zach Bryan. Okay.
It's just that one song, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. All right. Well, I guess I guess maybe that may answer this question, but who's heavy on your playlist right now?
Right now.
Yep.
Um.
Oh God.
um. My if Apple Music is
Uh-huh.
the teller of tales.
It
Um.
is.
The past week or so because it just dropped. Now it's Disney. However, comma, it's like punk goes pit Disney pretty much. So like
You
think
know
of
how
our
I know you have
childhood,
children?
that right there. It's a whole new sound. It's a bunch of Disney's. It's 12 Disney songs, but it's all performed by like Newfound Glory, Simple Plan, Yellow Card, We the Kings, Plain White Tees, Boys Like Girls. Like it's all like
Okay.
Bowling for
Okay.
Soup. It's
Stop.
so
Stop.
it's all that's what I've been listening to lately in the car.
You're gonna okay. This is what you're gonna do because totally grew up in my teen years, in my angsty teen years, listening to all of them. So
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have to Apple Music send me that shit so I can scope it out. See what you're
I
on
c-
about, right?
Absolutely. So it's like the classic Disney songs, but like their version. So it's spiced up a bit and a little rockified. So
Hmm. Steve, this is a fantastic question, and I'm not trying to ignore you, but we will answer this question when I am finished with the questions that I have, just to keep things flowing. But this is an excellent question. I could have been the guy and said you could look at our bio because it's definitely in there, even on the individual level, um, as to how this all started and where or, our love for the game kind of came from. But I will tell you the full story here since we're here tonight. Um, Next question. All right, this I've been watching a lot of like serial killer documentaries lately, and
there's a
they
lot of
just
good ones on Netflix
there's a
right now.
lot of great ones. Honestly, and I don't I feel almost like weird telling people this. The Dahmer one that whatever his first name Peters did. Do you know what I'm talking about? He plays
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Quicksilver.
yeah,
He plays
yeah.
Quicksilver,
Mm-hmm.
or the dude from American Horror Story. He's
Yep.
like in every single one of them. Him playing Jeffrey Dahmer. It honestly, like, not a lot of serial killer docs fuck with me. Like, I feel like maybe I'm a little immune to it, having watched so much Dexter. That one freaked me the fuck out. Like, I
That's
felt weird watching it. Like,
when
I
it
felt
came
like,
out. I heard that
yeah,
same thing from people.
like I felt guilty watching it because it was like I'm aiding or giving some sort of credit to the person who did this shit. Like, but the things that go on during it, like, it's everything you imagine a serial killer that's super creepy would be.
Mm-hmm.
It scares your soul's soul,
Oof.
right? But uh, in light of that, I would like to know what your last meal would be. And this is a two-part question, right? I want to know what your last meal would be, but I also want to know something if you were to travel abroad. But let's go with your last meal first. If you were on death row or you're on your deathbed and you're like, I gotta have this before I go, what is it?
Can I ask to have an item picked up from two different restaurants from the same town?
Oh no, nope.
Okay.
Nope. In all honesty, this meal is going to be well. If you're out, if you're out of prison, obviously. If you were in hypothetically in prison and you were on death row and this was your last meal and only the kitchen is cooking you something, what is your last meal?
Okay, so not from can't be from like a restaurant then.
No.
Okay, that would that changes my answer because there's a last meal. Big old plate of homemade spaghetti and garlic bread.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Of all the things in the world, basic ass spaghetti.
Homemade, good sauce, meatballs, spaghetti, big old thing, a hunk of cheesy garlic bread. I'll
You
take
better
that.
have a block of pecorino with you too.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
I'm a
interesting.
simple person. Like the other option probably would have been like steak, potatoes, and broccoli.
See,
But
I was waiting for like you say like prime rib with like super luxurious whipped mashed potatoes or some shit like that. Like if I'm really going out, I want to, I want to make sure that the fucking prison is paying for it.
right. I feel like everybody goes
Simple
that
man.
route. So I'm like, no, just give me a real good bowl of real spaghetti cooked right,
Listen, as long as it's not
meatballs.
Prego or Ragu that you put on top of it, I'll be happy with that. I'll be happy with that for you.
If
At least.
possible, if my mother could cook the spaghetti sauce for me, that would be ideal because I like my mom's has cooked it like her mom has cooked it for a long time, so we have a family recipe that they utilize, and if I could get that, that would be top tier.
I get it. I get it.
Plus, it's hard to
I
fuck
would
up
probably pick
spaghetti.
my
I feel
mom's
like,
sauce too.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know if
I
I
would.
trust the prison cook to cook a steak correctly.
You don't
I don't
know.
know.
I mean, what if the guy
That's what I'm
was
saying.
like a line cook somewhere and he decided, to, I'm
That's
just going to
true.
fuck my life up, and I can just live in the prison system and cook there.
True.
Don't do it, people. Don't do it. So second part to this question is
Okay.
you finally get to go to Manchester, right? What are you eating? Fish and chips cannot be an answer as it is a rite of passage meal. Go.
Shepherd's pie.
Okay. Are you going to go to like a local spot or are you like
Yes.
going to Gordon
Yes.
Ramsay? Okay.
No. Local.
Cuz
No.
I'm
Real. No. Real shepherd's pie from over there. Not the stuff you get from a chain restaurant.
right. Well, the one that he does do it in is like a standalone restaurant and it's fucking supposed to be top tier. But I honestly would rather have some nan cook me a
Yes.
shepherd's pie
Hell
than to
yes.
have him do it because I really don't need all that luxurious shit. I want somebody who's been doing it for like 80 fucking years.
Exactly. That is absolutely the plate that I'm thinking of in my head. 1000%.
um all right. That kicks us off to the third question. What's one thing you know about me that others would be surprised to learn?
That's a good question. Um, most of you see Colby on here getting hyped up, talking passionately, and sometimes might sound like an asshole to some folks, but in actuality, it's the complete opposite. And he has one of the biggest hearts I think anybody could possibly have. So
Oh,
he's a big teddy bear, even though he doesn't sound like it all the time
buddy.
on here. Once you get to know him and don't and stop being like an asshole to about stuff that he cares about, then
Listen,
once you're in, like he's got a big old heart inside, and you probably don't
Thank you.
realize that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. I know I come off as a bear. I can be ferocious. I can look decent, but you don't want to fuck with me. You just don't get on my bad side because I'll drive a metaphorical nail through your heart and you'll never come back from it. Like it's just I have had to protect myself my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So I got pretty good at it, but I know how to love as much as I can hate. So and you can't have love without or you can't have love without having that level of passion. You can't you just can't. So I appreciate you saying that. That
Absolutely.
touched that touched my little bare heart. Secret is out. Damn it. I'm
What can
not.
you
I
do?
am not. I'm not the prick you all think I am. Um, last
Steve
question.
Steve also said Manchester tart, and for a dessert, I definitely want to dive into one of them bad boys.
Okay, hold on. So he put up two things. In accordance, the chips and gravy, I get it. Which to us over here, especially people from Pittsburgh, where I'm from, those are called disco fries. Same concept, just probably just as good. So I know that. What is tater hash like? What is it comprised of? Like I gotta know because I make a hash. I do like sweet potatoes and sage sausage and like a red onion and I you can either put it over rice or mashed potatoes or trying to think what else over a piece of bread. Kind of do like an open face sandwich. And then I also need to know what is in said Manchester tart. Need to know. I am a foodie. Yes, I am. I am 100% a Baloo. Um, yeah, I'm a foodie. I need to know. I need details because I love cooking anything and everything. Like I think I was saying was it last week or the week before. I was like, if anybody like needs a tartar sauce recipe, I actually got a really good one that I made up. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. All right, last question because I'm getting hungry now that we started talking about fucking
I know, right?
food. God damn it!
It's lunchtime over here for sure.
Well, it's well past lunchtime. Okay, so last question, and then we'll round it out with Steve's question, and then got a few other things, and then we're going to close out. So, top question, something we touched on a little bit earlier in the episode. Potch is the new men's team coach. You support the U.S. soccer brand. Do you think he can take it over the edge, or is he more work, or is there more work to be done in order for U.S. soccer to become A, competitive, and B, change the grassroots level?
Okay. Um, so Poch is far and away the best manager the U.S. team has ever had
On paper.
on paper.
On paper.
Um, Based on what we've had in the past, this is a massive step up in quality of manager. I do think we are going to see an improved U.S. side. I think Christian Pulisic comments after the most recent friendly was extremely telling. He mentioned that he hopes Poch is able to um, change the culture that's been needed and bring out more of a fight in some of the players because it's noticeable that some carry very much. A good chunk are just there for the publicity, the clout, if you will, of being on a national team, and they don't really care that much if they win or not. Unless they're playing like Mexico when it's a rivalry, then they play really hard. But when it's just any other match, it doesn't shine through.
Mm-mm.
So I do think stylistically it's going to be better. And I think if he's able to implement a new culture, which I think has been needed because we've had the same rinse and repeat managers in the past where it's all been people from the 90s men's national team that have been in charge. So it's been the same group of players, or same group of folks running the show for so long. A
Mm-hmm.
change from the outside definitely needed, and I will say I think we will improve. All that being said, he Poch alone, even if it was Pep, too much wrong at the grassroots level for things to change, one, before the World Cup, and two, in the long run, until um, things at the youth level get sorted out and fixed. We touched
Hmm.
on it a little bit with the pay to play system that Colby was talking about earlier. Until that system gets rectified and gets sorted out, and there's actual change being implemented by the people up at the top of U.S. soccer,
Hmm.
we might do better than just getting out of the group stage at the next World Cup, because Pochettino, I think, has the ability to get us to that point. And there is, to be clear, there is talent on the men's national team currently. They have the ability to compete. It's whether or not they have the desire, the want to, and the mental toughness to
Hmm.
actually compete and want to compete. Um, so big picture, he's not enough alone. It has to be something that is changed from the very top, and maybe just maybe with the women's side bringing in Emma Hayes, who is the best women's coach on the planet right now.
Big
Um,
facts.
com- Partnering that with Pochettino. Right now, he's only got a 2-year contract, so he's pretty much getting us through, which is pretty standard for like a international manager. They're not getting like
Mhm.
8, 6, 7-year contracts. Usually, it's get us to the World Cup. Let's see how we do, and if it does well, we'll extend, kind of thing.
Right.
But maybe with the right managers in charge, we'll see some growth and some improvement in the youth side. And with both of my daughters playing pretty competitive youth soccer at this point, there is
Mhm.
so much really good football being played in the youth ranks, and actually really good coaches. But the problem is the organizations themselves. The clubs are out to make money more so than they are to develop real talent. The coaches on the field are trying to develop the whole player. They're teaching them the right ways. They're using Pep's strategies. They're using the way the Liverpool coaches their academy on in England over here. It's the exact same stuff that they're being taught. They're teaching it over here. They play from the back. They want to possess. They're very technical.
Mhm.
Um, so the coaches are teaching the right things. However, the clubs and the tournament directors and the organizations that set up all the leagues are there to make money, not to develop the youth soccer players in
Right.
America. That is the problem. And until that changes, nothing is going to get fixed, no matter who the manager is. We could bring Pep in and after Pochettino when he's ready to be done, and it still wouldn't make a difference. We might have a better product on the men's team, but as soon as
Mhm.
it's just because Pep is that dude. But systemically, there's too big of a problem for just a manager alone to fix.
Agreed. 100%. I think because and because we are at the grassroots level, both as parents and coaches, it's it's really easy to say that we have a big pool of talent, and there's probably much more out there than what we're seeing in our view on a weekend or week to week or even weekend to weekend basis. I mean, there just has to be. There's how many of us in the United States? Children make up at least a third of that. You know what I mean? Like, um, I I just don't understand why there wasn't a thought process when forming the previous leagues that have been here in America, even up until the MLS. Why aren't we just simply taking the blueprint that has worked for, I don't know, basically centuries at this point? Why aren't we using that blueprint? Why are we trying to like make this whole new mold? It doesn't. I understand businesses need to grow. I mean, this is the one big gripe that most other fans, aside from City fans, and even some City fans that don't understand money and business and understanding that the club is a business. And in order for a business to grow, you need to make money, right? I understand that part. But when is it going to get to the this is about This isn't about how much your mommy and your daddy pay us for you to be here. It's about whether you're good enough to be here or not. Much like the rest of our sports here in America, it's merit based. The cream of the crop rise to the top. That's not to say in American football, basketball, and even the hockey levels that these parents aren't paying out of hundreds of thousands, or not hundreds of thousands of dollars out of pocket for their kid to be a part of that program. With hockey in specific, I feel like those are generationals. That's one of those games that, like, your dad played, so you play, so your child's going to play, and so on and so forth. Um, it's becoming that way less and less with American football. You don't see father and son going one after another, and it's honestly because of the injuries that are accrued, especially in the younger years. If you do get them, they last a lifetime. I'm actually a part of that statistic. I have had multiple concussions. Um, Probably not right in the head in some way, shape, or form because of it. But
That's
spending my
everybody.
formative right, but spending my formative years playing a contact sport like that, especially one where you're constantly getting your head bashed in, it does something. And obviously, going down to the next generation, it's not advisable, which is why I've been like super against my kid playing. I don't want you to go through what I went through. I would
Mm-hmm.
rather you go into this sport knowing that it's on the up track right now and you're just naturally gifted at it. You know what I mean? Anyways, I digress. I'm going a little far off the handle. Um yeah. Americans need to just get it together. Everton are bottling it again. No shit.
Are they? Shocker. This is my
Apparently,
surprise face.
right? Oh my god. Less now for some reason. But, Steve, this is the lack of talent pool that we have. We can't get a lot of these players to go beyond the MLS next stage if they even make it to that, and that's a far few and in between. You either play club level up until you're 18, or you get shipped the fuck over to Europe. I actually had a classmate who was shipped over to Italy at 15. He was a fantastic baller. Um, Career didn't pan out later on. I don't know what really happened there. Not to say that I don't care. I care a little bit more now than I did back then, but didn't make it far. And I don't know if it's in part financing. I mean, because he's at that young age, you're not getting paid. They're not giving you a place to live. You're somebody's paying out of pocket for you to be there. So, anyways, if once the sport gets big, or gets big over here, I think that the pool will expand. It's not to say that it's not there. It's just it's covered up right now. They closed it for winter permanently, basically. All right. So we said that we were going to tell our story. We have told it many, many a time. We don't have a problem telling it again. Uh, I will let Joe lead this off. Why you started supporting City? If it was a moment, a match, a player. Um,
So for me, I'll give somewhat abbreviated version. I played basketball growing up. I was not into soccer, football, either. I Nothing. Didn't care about it. Had the wrong view on it based on the people I was surrounding myself with who talked a
and
certain way about it.
that's the big
Um,
part of it.
so that influenced me into feeling a certain kind of way without actually investigating the sport at all on my own and just taking the word of those around me, which is what you do when you're 12, 13, 14 years old. Plus, I was just basketball was all I loved it. I played it all year round. That's it. But
Mhm.
2010 World Cup, I was hanging out at that time with a buddy who was into footy. We started watching World Cup matches, and I really enjoyed what I was looking at. We played FIFA all the time, so buddy who was more knowledgeable about it than I was showing me, FIFA watching the World Cup, and started taking notice on during the World Cup of the Spain year. That was Spain's big stretch, and David Silva was a big part of that club, that team, and I
Mhm.
really enjoyed watching him. And then as we started playing FIFA more, I kept being drifted towards Man City because uh, I'm a Tar Heels basketball fan, and the colors are very similar.
Same
So I'm like,
color.
hey, I'm gonna go with that to start off. And then I saw that same summer David Silva was coming to the Etihad, and then Aguero also was. I love playing with him on FIFA. He was quick, fast, had awesome looking boots. He looked cool. So I started playing FIFA with Aguero back in 2010, 2011, and then they both obviously got moved to City at that point. So I was like, these are like my two favorite players to watch and play with. They're on this Manchester City team,
Hmm.
so I'm gonna jump in and start watching them. And then ever since then, it's been love affair that will not ever go away at this point.
Yep.
So I got in 2010 ish. So it's been 14 years now. Of repping the city. I started getting a little more heavy into it in like 2014 ish. So the Pellegrini era. Mostly because at that same time I was 23, 24, and a new father. So I was a little occupied on most of my time with trying to raise a beautiful little girl. But then I started. It really got heavy. Even more was I went down to one of our local supporters club watch parties on for the Community Shield against Chelsea one time. My first time going down there, and uh, the former chairman of the chapter was back in town, and they reached out. The current admin at the time reached out to the mothership and said, "Hey, can you guys do something for our founder our chapter over here? That's they're getting married. Be cool if you guys could do something for him, just something."
Mm.
Not expecting much, and the mothership went way above and beyond and sent over a video with almost every player on the team at the time wishing them a happy wedding day, and like personalized, saying their names. There was representatives from the Etihad Airways and presented them with a all expenses paid honeymoon to the Caribbean.
It's fucking awesome.
Um, and when they got down there and got down to their suite, they walked in and the Premier League trophy was sitting in their hotel suite for them to see.
This
Just
is new. This is new information. Holy
so
shit, that's so cool.
so the first time I'm going to like a watch party, I'm seeing the club do who's in England has no obligation to do much of anything for an American supporter who started a chapter in DC, and they went above and beyond, and out of just pretty much like a couple of emails saying, "Hey, could you do something for this guy?" And that's what the club decided to do. And at that point, I was like, "Okay, you have my loyalty forever." At this point, because the fact that you did that for people who have never been probably to the Etihad, never been over there, and out of the goodness of your heart to decide to treat people that like that, I was like, that you got. I'm in. I'm all in.
Right.
I don't give a shit about my
Wins,
American football
losses, doesn't
team
matter.
anymore. No, nope.
Yeah.
Win losses, other teams. Like this is you are now. I'm a part of this. You're
Yep.
part of my family at this point, and I'm all in. So that's what really hooked me in fully, completely. I was already a fan prior to, but seeing them make that kind of effort for
Complete
uh,
strangers.
complete
Literally
strangers,
anybody in the world, right?
yeah, for them to do something like that was absolutely stunning for me to see, because we don't see that kind of thing in most.
Not
I feel like most clubs, teams in America, football clubs everywhere, depending on the sport, you don't see that kind of shit
No.
like that.
You
That
you have
is
to be a season ticket holder for X amount of years and have some connection with somebody on the board in order for that to even be a shot of a possibility. That's
exactly.
that
So
the yeah.
it was so against the norm of what I was, because at the time growing up, I was a big Washington Redskins fan. Dan Snyder is the
Like you
complete
said,
opposite of
worst,
complete
worst,
opposite of
worst,
owner.
worst.
Complete opposite of experience that I ever had with like a professional team that I supported. So seeing
Feel
them
so
do that
bad
for
for
their,
that franchise.
oh, I don't anymore.
Well, not anymore, but
I used to care very deeply. Now it's city football and that's it.
you know,
What about you?
my journey was a much longer winding road uh leading me to the team. Um my real first engagement with the game was the 96 World Cup. Um that was when Croatia actually had gotten their first stab at the tournament. And I took notice to that. Me and my friend at the time, we took a lot of notice to that. And it piqued my interest then. But because of where I grew up, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, very blue collar town, it's very reminiscent geographically and state of mind to Manchester, which is one of the reasons why I kind of said this is where I was going to go. But I'll get to that later in the story. Um, After that, to be honest, it just didn't exist. I had I was transplanted in 1999 from the town I lived in outside of Pittsburgh to super rural Northern Virginia, almost night and day to what I was raised in. And the only thing that kept me home in my mind was my connection to the city and its sports teams. If you know, Pittsburgh has a outstanding culture when it comes to sports. I mean, it'll make or break everybody's fucking week if the Steelers lose. It's that deep. So my pride and my passion and my loyalty, uh, it stood the test of time with Pittsburgh. It really wasn't until 2020 when COVID hit, where I started becoming less engaged and involved with the National Football League. I started seeing more and more scriptedness of the game. Not only that, but my team kind of started to fall off a little bit. We had gone from being a top team to a fairly mediocre, in our opinion. Um, and it just wasn't fun anymore. COVID did something. COVID did something to me, and I was at the time. We are all by ourselves. My best friend at the time, he lives in Chicago. He's actually a former um, co-host here on the show. I reached out to him during COVID, and I was like, "Dude, I'm bored. Like, I need something new to do. I need something to occupy my time. Teach me something. I would love to know. I would love to know football now. Like, teach me the game." Because he had started watching. Was it 2012 or 2014? Do you remember? He said he got in.
I think it was 2012.
Well, I want to say it was 2012 too. Um, we both grew up going to the same high school the one I moved down here to from PA to Virginia. Um, we both grew up playing football and baseball, um, for the most part. Rec basketball with friends and driveways and stuff like that. And he wasn't into it up until then, and even then, he didn't really know what he was getting himself into. I think it was a case of Oasis being a factor in his deciding of this is who I'm gonna go after on top of like Sergio Aguero and David Silva.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for me, um, yeah, 2020 happened. I wanted to learn something new. He said, "You know what? Pick up FIFA. Me and you we'll play each other, and I'll teach you along the way." I was like, "Cool, perfect. That sounds great."
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, little knowledge to whom was a top team, whom was good, who was bad. I just knew long before I ever came into this that I hated United. Long before. Every United fan that I have ever met, especially the American ones, have been nothing more than a bag of tools. That's
Big
they
facts.
they don't know how to talk to you about the game. They certainly they're like they're the American gatekeepers of the game, if you will. It's ridiculous. So anybody that was a United fan that ever wanted, oh, you don't watch this game, oh, you're this, you're that, you don't know anything. Well, okay, dude, whatever.
Those same
They're
United
making
fans were all Yankees, Lakers, and Duke
yes,
basketball fans too.
that is big facts. That is big facts. So talk about glory hunting. Um, so yeah, 2020 happened. Got into FIFA. Started getting really good at it. Started understanding it more. Um, Went through the 2020 season without a team. Didn't care to choose what Kyle chose at that moment, even though it felt like the right thing to do because I wanted to bond with my best friend and us have a similar team because he's a Dolphins fan, I'm a Steelers fan, and there's a wide gap when it comes to those two particular teams.
Facts.
So went through the 2020 season, 21. That was Aguero's last season. I caught the end of this season. I don't want to say it was like the last 2 or 3 games of the season, and I saw Aguero score his final goal with City, and honestly, that's what locked it in. It was honestly a culmination of so many different things. I mean, both Joe and I grew up listening to Oasis. I mean, that it was hard not to turn on the radio and not hear Supernova or one of their hits that came out on the radio here, and especially on a repeat frequent basis. So yeah, I didn't care that City was the top flight team. I didn't care about the winning ways currently. Um, I just saw my identity in it. I saw what I was comfortable with as far as like I was saying with Pittsburgh. It reminds me a lot of Pittsburgh, like the blue collaredness, the geographics with the three rivers, and the city being right in between all of it. Like there's all of that really piles it on. But yes, I did not come. Neither one of us came in here looking to take the top team who is collecting the most trophies in current times. And we've said it here, we've said it elsewhere, and we'll say it again. It doesn't matter if we're in Division 2 or whatever may happen to us. We're here for the long haul. We are we want to be here because we want to be the forefront of city culture here in America. We want to share our love for this team and what it has done for us. I don't know how much more it could go past that.
We talked earlier about the 115 and whatever happens, and don't think this is going to happen. But in the off chance we get sent down to League Two, Championship, whatever it might be, that doesn't change a thing for either of us. We're not those American fans that are just casually about this and just doing this for fun.
Mhm.
I put in the comments and told Steve, like, it's incredible how this club and the game itself has got it into our blood, into our lives, and changed like our daily lives. It's just insane.
Oh yeah, my day to day goes completely different now.
Oh, it's amazing how
Yeah.
just like I thought I was a passionate like American football and basketball fan back.
I'm even more so now.
Not even remotely close to where I'm at now with this, and it's just different. It's completely different. It's hard to explain.
I honestly think, Joe, that the level of traditions that go along with each individual club is something that we desperately kind of need here in America. It's not to say that like American football fans aren't really diehard or whatever it may be, because there are ones that are super diehard, but the collective community, the closeness of that community and in so many ways is not quite the same as it is over there. And that's something that like I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm jealous as shit that I can't be there every weekend and walk the streets to the stadium and chant along with everybody and get all revved up, because that is me. That's my scene. That's my happening. I wish I could be there. I wish to God my great grandparents didn't say, "Oh, we're gonna go to America. It seems better there." Like too often, I curse my great grandparents because of it. So
Yeah, the community vibe of the game, like with City, but also like just the game itself, I think
Yes.
is different too from like when I was on basketball teams when I was growing up. Like I know it's not the case for a lot of kids and teams, but I've been extremely blessed and lucky for both of my kids to be a part of just a bunch of really nice families and girls and being a part of that like community that you build with that team and the families that we spent so much time with,
Mm,
practice, tournament weekends, game weekends. You're spending so much time with these people. A lot of them have become some of our like best friends at this point now,
yes.
and become like so close. And I'm just thankful for the game itself for
Hmm.
bringing so much joy to me, but now my kids, and then
Yes.
seeing them both just 100% dive headlong into the sport and just absolutely adore it. And then bringing in the people into our lives that have impacted my kids and us so much. Like I just this they call it the beautiful game for a reason. And it's not just about what happens on the pitch. It's the
Mm-mm.
things that come
No.
around outside of it too.
Jamie Tart's dad said it best: "Is football isn't what happens on the pitch; it's what happens off the pitch that really matters." And I have to say that even him saying it in that way, it still resonated another way. It's like, yeah, you're right,
Hmm.
absolutely right. Well, Joe, we got 2 hours 20 minutes. We got anything left?
Is it lunchtime yet?
God bless.
I'm ready for food in my belly.
Yes, so am I. So am I. We want to one last comment from Steve. No fan is a fan regardless. The excitement of a match day gets to you. You can go once a year. As your first time city is in your heart and blood. It's great to meet our American brothers. Thanks, dude. Thank you. This is the fucking energy that we like. This is like it, we understand in history the Revolutionary War kind of like divided us a little bit. It's very fucking obvious. We just want to bridge the gap back. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a thing of remorse. It's like you're our fucking people. We wouldn't be
Hmm.
here without England or France or Germany or Italy. Like we have a lot of respect for Europe and the culture and stuff like that, and we just want to be a part of it, man. We just want to have some fun with y'all because why not bring people together, right?
And trust us, we even though we might not be second, third, fourth generation City fans, we're the
Right.
first generation teaching our younger ones who are all both like super into it. We
Super.
we adore this club so much, just as much as you guys do. That's why we're here. It's why we do this every week and soon to be twice a week. It's because we love this club with every
Yep.
fiber in our being at this point. So
Literally.
we're right there with you guys.
I wake up and I go to sleep. City, city, city. All the time.
Mm.
All right, guys. So we want to thank you all of our new subscribers that have come in. Love that you guys are here and hanging out with us. Steve,
Hit us
thank you
up
for
on
being in.
socials, man.
Yeah, hit us up on socials and thank you for being in here tonight with us and commenting. More of you should do that. There are a total of 45 people between three channels. Sounds kind of ridiculous at the same time, but all the same, there should be that many people commenting and liking. So please do that. We appreciate the support any way that it comes. Um, you'll always be welcome at the Etihad. Oh, you had that up, didn't you?
No, you're good.
You'll always be welcome at the Etihad, the UK bias fans. Now go get a Manchester tire. We will
Yes.
after I go to Greg's and I go to Nando's. Actually, we have a Nando's here in the DC area now. Did you know that?
There's a couple. There's one at the Arundel Mills Mall, which is 20 minutes from my house.
Exactly.
I love me some Nando's.
Crazy. But yeah, for sure, definitely we'll have to go get a Manchester tart. Um, till next week, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us. We love it and we appreciate it. Make sure you tune in on Wednesday where we cover the Champions League match. I forget who we're playing.
Inter Milan rematch.
Inter. That's right, Inter. That should be a fun one. I want to send a special shout out to Barber Docks Club over in the motherland. Dude's awesome. Chatted it up with a little bit with him recently. If you're going over there, if you live there in town, make sure that you give him your business. He's a Mank. He loves the team. It's literally his whole shop has nothing but memorabilia all through it. It looks so cool. And he's a super cool dude. So please go show your support to him. Anytime you need lined up, little beard trim, little hair trim, go see your boy. And as always, hit that like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bells. Till next week, I'm going to leave you with. What am I going to leave you with?
Alrighty then.
All of the time.